6 episodes in, and we're really on a roll. Hey everybody, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video is going to be an episode impression regarding episode 6 of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS. Now, before I talk about this week's episode, I do have one comment that I want to make about Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS so far. Other than one little quirk that I have about Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, and that is the speed duels, I fear that they're using them too much already, 6 episodes in, and that we really need to see a master duel here before too long. Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS is doing an exceptional job of holding my attention, and I think fans' attention overall. In fact, several people that I've talked to recently that have left the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime have recently come back, and they are just hooked on Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS. And I'll be honest with you guys, 6 episodes in, I don't think I've been this interested in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime franchise ever. I mean, no series before VRAINS has 6 episodes in pretty much held me by the throat and says, "Love me, watch me." And yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS is definitely doing a first on that whole front, and that's really amazing and very impressive. Very encouraged to see that, and I do hope Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS continues that going down the road. But those points aside, Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS is awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about this week's episode. So this week's episode is really the first Blue Angel backstory episode that we've gotten. The episode starts off with Blue Angel. She's facing this random duelist in a speed duel and ends up defeating him. And everybody's watching this, including Yusak and Shoichi. And they are watching via the cameras in the food truck there. And they do figure out that Blue Angel is actually Aoi. And that her brother-in-law, that this is still the thing that throws me in for a loop. Her brother-in-law is Zaizen. We all thought that Aoi was actually Zaizen's sister, not sister-in-law. So, that's kind of that was a big bombshell today for most Yu-Gi-Oh fans. I think several people I've talked to, especially on Twitter, are still trying to digest that wait a minute, they're only step siblings? Does that mean Zaizen is married to Aoi's sister, or who her sister could be? That may be a theory video later down the road for me. I don't know. I'm not willing to jump on that yet. I'm still trying to digest that. And anyway, they're talking about Aoi, and it's pointed out to Yusaku that basically by Soichi, he looks at Yusaku and says, "Look at her. You notice anything?" And it's then that it hits Yusak that Aoi goes to his school. And they actually make funny comments about this because Soichi says, well, maybe if you could get to know her, you can find out more about her and more about SOL and your lost memories and everything else. And then he thinks to himself for a minute. He's like, no, that's impossible. And Ignis is like, well, what do you mean that's impossible? Of course it's possible. And then Soichi and Ignis have a good laugh when he says, really, Yusak, talking to a girl, can you even imagine that? And Yusaku's like, I could talk to a girl. And Ignis is pretty much like, no, dude, you can't. Like, this is right. This is ridiculous. Or he's right. This is ridiculous. You're not going to be able to do it. And so Yusak and Ignis trail Aoi back to the school's duel club, to which he kind of is forced into joining to make an awkward situation less awkward, although that really didn't help. And when Aoi and the others ask to see his deck, he shows them a quote-unquote dummy deck, to quote Ignis. Because obviously, if he shows everybody his deck, they're going to know he's Playmaker. And in fact, they made the comment that you're using a card insert dual disc very similar to Playmakers. And I think that's why Aoi asked to see his deck. And Yusak quite cleverly hands her a dummy deck. So that was really slick thinking on his part. And even Ignis commented on that. He's like, hey, that was slick thinking there. And it's also pretty funny to note this as well. Apparently Ignis is trying to flirt with Blue Angel's dual disc. Like, I don't know why. He just says, like, hey, sweet thing, how's it going? Or, hey, new model, how's it going? And I think that's going to be a running gag that they're going to play with for a while. The dual discs are in love with each other, everybody. I, I just don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh. I just don't know. But anyway, so the episode goes on, and it turns out that Zaizen is starting to take a lot of heat because it leaked out that he set up Go versus Playmaker, and he's declining to comment on that. And actually, somebody asks him if Playmaker is going to duel Blue Angel next. He says nope. And he basically informs his sister, he's like, you stay away from speed dueling. You stay away from Vrains. Stop being the idol of Vrains. And Aoi's like, she tells him that she will, but let's be honest, that's not going to happen. And in fact, she does the total opposite. Her brother just went on national television, or her stepbrother just went on national television and said, no, Blue Angel is not going to duel Playmaker next. And what does she do? She goes ahead and challenges Playmaker, calls him out, says, I'm going to duel you, because she wants to prove to Zaizen that she can hold her own. But while waiting for Playmaker, who doesn't show up, by the way, she is confronted by the Knights of Hanoi, who have determined that they can use Blue Angel to get to Playmaker and Ignis. And Revolver sends out his little lackey there. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. And he actually throws a card into Blue Angel's deck that says, this will show your true desire. This will open your eyes. And that deck inserts itself into that card inserts into her disc. Bleh. And pretty much that. She thinks it's weird, but she's not entirely sure it's there. But once that happens, she logs out because Playmaker doesn't show up. And when they see each other the next day, Yusak and Aoi, Yusak tries to ask her questions, and she's like, just don't bother. Let me stop you right there. Not going to happen. She walks off, and even Yusak and Ignis could tell something was off, especially Ignis when he tried to flirt with her dual disc again, and her dual disc looks at Ignis and is like, do not pretend we are friends. And Ignis tries to tell Yusak that something is off, but he's told to pretty much just shut up, which does end up resulting in Ignis tricking Yusak to duel Aoi, because he sends Aoi a message that says, hey, I'll duel you now, and he makes it look like it came from Playmaker, and he tells Yusak that a Knight of Hanoi had appeared. And so Yusak goes to Vrains and sees Blue Angel, and he questions Ignis. He's like, what is going on here? You told me there's a Knight of Hanoi here. And Ignis looks at him and says, don't be blind. There is a Knight of Hanoi here. She's right in front of you. And then it hits Yusak or Playmaker at this point that's what was off, that Ignis was trying to warn him about. And Ignis is like, precisely, now you're catching on. And the episode ends with the beginning of Playmaker versus Blue Angel. Now, like I stated before, and that's pretty much the episode, but like I stated before, Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS is really doing something awesome. Really loved this week's episode. It was emotional, the animation was crisper, and like I stated before, I don't think a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series has ever held me this attentive, ever. VRAINS is definitely doing a first on that. And it's not just a catchy ending and beginning of VRAINS, because I'll be honest with you guys, those two have made it onto my anime playlist, and I play them all the time on my MP3 player. But that point aside, catchy as the opening and endings are, this is the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Series that's actually holding my attention this well, and I hope that they continue it. And like I stated before, the only quirk I have are with the speed duels potentially being overused. But that's just me. In the comments down below, let me know what you guys saw this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts on the potential overuse of speed duels? What is your thoughts about Playmaker versus Blue Angel? What are your thoughts on this whole episode? Just let me know what your guys' thoughts, comments, and opinions are in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. All right, everybody. As always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.